So, hi, good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're just joining us now, please use the comment section below to drop your name and tell us where you're joining this webinar from. I've been looking forward to this session all week, and my name is Martin Wakwi, and I'm the founder of Study Key by Mundus Consults. So, I'd love to know where you're joining from. So, use the comment section to drop your name and let us know where you're joining this session from. Yeah, hi, Blessing, you're welcome. Hi, Diamond, you're welcome, Benedicta, you're welcome, Onyedikachi from Imo State. Okay, Abigail from Benin, Edo State, or Benedicta Ifoma from Lagos, Maria from, oh, okay, Adebi from Lagos. Oh no, you guys are welcome. Like I said, it's finally the D-Day, and I'm so excited to for what's going to happen here tonight. All of the knowledge and the insights that we're going to get from the University of Portsmouth this night. I'm looking forward to our guest speaker who will be talking to us about the University of Portsmouth. So I know a lot of us here have been like sitting on this UK dream, for a while. You've been doing your own research. You've been asking like lots of questions in different WhatsApp groups, across social media, trying to figure out things on your own. And basically, what we want to do this night is to help you make sense of all of the information that you get to see online, or all the information you get to see on Google. And so this night, there's no, guesswork. There's no, I heard from so and so person. There's no third party. There's no, oh, one agent told me about this. You're hearing directly from the University of Portsmouth's official representative for the West African region. So you get to ask any question you have, get to hear from her directly, and get to also listen to her about the opportunities that University of Portsmouth UK offers to Nigerian and like African students. So in a few minutes from now, I'll be bringing on Mrs. Chinelo Conway. She's the regional manager for West Africa at the University of Portsmouth, UK. And so this is the actual university speaking to us directly. Like I said before, not an agent, not a middleman. This is the school speaking to us directly. So she's going to break down everything that you need to know from the admission process, why you should choose Portsmouth. There are no precast interview, no proof of funds, stress, every single thing that you will need to know in order to make an informed decision. And you also get to ask her questions at the end of this webinar live, and so she gets to respond to whatever question you have. And so please put your phones on do not disturb. I don't think you want anybody to distract you throughout this session. If you have a pen and paper, grab it. You need to write things down. And so let's get right into it. Okay. All right. So at this point, I'll be bringing in Mrs. Chinelo Conway, the West African regional lead for University of Portsmouth, for her to take over the session. All right, so she'll be joining us in a few seconds. Okay. Yeah, you have her now.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi everyone. Yeah, please can you all see my screen? It's important I know you're all seeing my screen. Can you see my screen, please?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So good evening everyone. I'm excited to be a part of this session. My name is Chinelo Konwe and my portfolio was recently expanded to not just cover West Africa but Sub-Saharan Africa. So I'm happy to be here today, and I'm happy to share with you the process of applying to the University of Portsmouth, but more than that, to sort of sway you into considering the University of Portsmouth as one of your study destinations. So I put together a slide, but my information will not be limited to what is on the slide. And I'm more than happy to entertain any question you might have regarding your study journey, generally across the UK, but particularly with the University of Portsmouth. So please feel free to pay attention and ask me any questions as we go along. I don't know what the housekeeping rules are, so I'm assuming that the questions can be put in the chat box. Is that the case, please? Or how do you intend this to pan out?
Yes, so they'll use the comment section for whatever questions that they have.
Yeah, so are the questions supposed to be put in the chat box? Is that the case?
Okay, yes, okay, we'll do that.
Oh, okay. Well, whatever works is for you and the team works for me as well. So
Okay.
without taking much of your time, I'll just start off with so the first slide is why choose the University of Portsmouth. We are located on the south coast of the UK. Most of the time, people who don't have an idea of where we're located in the UK will usually ask the distance between the university and the airport. So I usually would say we're 90 minutes from London, and this is either by train, by bus, by coach. We're also 90 minutes from Gatwick or Heathrow, whichever airport that you will be flying in from. We're the only university in the city of Portsmouth. Of course, we're surrounded by various other universities from other cities like Southampton and Brighton, but within the city of Portsmouth in itself, we are um, the only university found in that city, and that usually works out in the favor of international students. And this is saying it from a selfish point of view because when you have lots of universities within a city, it sort of impacts on how easy, in quotes, it is for students to get international jobs. So, and these international jobs are what students want to be assured that they would get within the 20 hours a week that they're allowed to work as international students on a full-time course study. So, being the only university in the city sort of works out in the favor of students, particularly international students. So, there are lots of industries, companies, shopping malls that students can seek out this 20-hour a week job to augment, whatever money they're going to be able to make out of the 20 hours a week experience. Another beautiful thing about the University of Portsmouth is it is in the city of Portsmouth. So I do know that a few universities in the UK, for whatever reason, are sometimes situated in the outskirts of the main city, but that's not the case with Portsmouth. You're literally in the city, in the University of Portsmouth when you arrive the city. So I'm sure somewhere in the slide there'll be a picture of the city of Portsmouth. You will see buildings surrounding the city, and those buildings, some of them house the various faculties that we have within the university. So for an international student, this kind of makes it easy for you to hit the ground running when you arrive to school because you're literally in the heart of the city. It's not like you have to walk miles or drive miles or to be able to get to school or your faculty. And now another beautiful thing about the University of Portsmouth is that the transport links to the rest of UK and Europe is easier because it is a seafront location. So you can either take the ferry to France and Spain, and I'll tell you why that is also a good thing for international students, particularly undergraduate students who have work placements embedded in their coursework. I know I'm conscious of the fact that should students decide they want to leave the UK to go to another country, there's also the issue of the visas. But if that is taken care of, because we do have international students who have dual citizenship and stuff like that, it enables them progress to these countries for that 1 year work experience, overseas work experience. So, like I said, it's easy for you to navigate transportation from Southampton, Gatwick, Heathrow, and all of that works favorably for students studying at the University of Portsmouth. Now, we're proud of a lot of things, and I've just put in a nutshell some of the stats that we're proud of. We have constantly achieved gold in the teaching excellence framework, and we're particularly impressed as an institution that we have obtained the teaching excellence framework gold since inception. So since this particular award, which is handed to individual universities by the UK government since inception, we've had gold year on year. So we know exactly what we're doing in terms of teaching. We also have a five-star rating, and this is from the QS Top Universities ranking. 94% of our students end up going into further study, and this is from their graduate outcome. So this applies essentially to undergraduate students. We're also a top five young university, and we're in the top 30 for student satisfaction. And this is according to the prestigious Times Higher Education for 2024. Now, we offer a range of courses, and these courses are domiciled within five faculties. So we've got the Faculty of Business and Law, we've got the Faculty of Creative and Cultural Industries, the Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences, the Faculty of Science and Health, and of course the Faculty of Technology. Now, when I go to fairs or meet with students or partner agents and channel partners, I get asked, to sort of list out the courses we do. And because we offer a range of courses, I would much rather list out what we don't do. So at the moment, we do not offer medicine. We do offer dentistry, but not medicine. We also do not offer any nutrition based courses, so courses like food and nutrition and the likes. We're also not a university that teaches agriculture. Um, yeah, so anything outside of these courses, we're happy to um, inform you that we offer. So as long as your course options are not within these subject areas I've mentioned, then you're sure that you would get a course subject to study with us at the university. We offer over 400 different programs, both at the bachelor's and the master's level. Um, for the master's level, of course, we've got the postgraduate thoughts and the postgraduate research. So all of these together make up the master's level courses. And then we've got three intakes in the year. The three intakes in the year we have is the big intake, which is the September. Then we have the January intake and the few courses we offer in our May intake. So there is something for everyone. If you miss out on the big intake, which is September, chances are that you would have that same course or something closely related and similar often in January. And then, of course, there is the May intake, which has a smaller number of courses, but also has courses that you might be interested in just in case you miss out on the September and January intake. Now, some of our subject areas, this is not limited at all to what we do, but I just thought I would give an overview of some of the courses you will find within these faculties. So we've got courses in business management, construction, project management in itself. We've got a really big school of computing within our Faculty of Technology where we offer courses in cybersecurity, forensics, artificial intelligence, data analytics, information systems. And then we've got photography, fashion, creative arts, architecture, music. Um, and then we've got this really interesting school within our Faculty of Creative and Cultural Industries that teaches on animations, games, design, production, development. Because I oftentimes get students, especially when I go to fairs, high school fairs, students who are interested in computer games production and design. We're really huge on that. We're ranked in the top 10 in the whole of the UK. Then we've got courses in the healthcare, social care, and social work. We've got courses in international relations, nursing, pharmacy, dentistry, law, sports science, to mention a few. Now, I didn't mention this because I wanted you to see it for yourselves on the screen. Apart from the Portsmouth campus, we have a London campus. It is a newer campus as compared to the Portsmouth campus, but it is one that we're proud of. It is located in the heart of London and offers you three intakes in the year. Now, the intakes are February, May, and September. These are some of the course programs offered within the London campus. There's business and management, the usual suspects, economics, finance, banking, and then there are courses in postgraduate as well that have project management, engineering management, information systems. The beautiful thing about the London campus is that all of these courses are available for the three intakes within the year, unlike the Portsmouth campus where we have a majority of the courses offered in September and then January, and just a handful for May. With the London campus, virtually every course program delivered at that campus has got both the February, the May, and the September intake. So the next slide will talk about how we support West African students. Now, before I go into scholarships, I don't like to use the word scholarship. I prefer to use discounts, but I know scholarships can be more catchy. It's important that you know that there's tremendous support for international students, West African students in particular. And one of that support is having a representative based in West Africa. Um, I don't work in isolation. I've got a team here in West Africa, and I've got a colleague who also oversees the East and Southern African region. So there is tremendous support from this regional office in this side of things for students who are progressing from West Africa to the University of Portsmouth. Now, when you do arrive at the university, there is also support from colleagues within the global admissions, which we are an offshoot of. So we've got the student advice team, the international student advice team, we've got the student ambassadors, and we've got a careers and employability team. It is one we are proud of. We're particularly proud of that team because their job responsibility is essentially to ensure that international students know how to seek out and find jobs. Of course, there are no guarantees, but they equip you with the tools that you will need when you're navigating your work and trying to figure out how to get a part-time job. And even when you complete your course program and you're now looking for a full-time job, they will handhold you through the process of job searching, pointing you in the right directions, how to comport yourself during an interview, how to write a cover letter, because I know that the process of job searching, as we understand it here in West Africa, is completely different from how it applies in the UK. And this support that they offer to international students is not just limited to students alone. So even when you graduate, up to 5 years after graduation, you're still able to access their service, their facilities, the information that they're so readily happy to provide to you. So it's a resource that I usually would ask international students not to take lightly. Engage with the careers and employability team and get as much information and support as you would, as they'll be able to offer you as an international student. So, having said that, let's go into the discounts that we offer. So, we've got the first one, which is the Chancellor's Global Academic Merit Scholarship, which is worth £5,000. Now, this particular scholarship is not automatic. However, the process of applying for it and potentially getting it is straightforward. Applicants would need to, first of all, have applied for a course of study and got an offer. Um, these applicants should have obtained a 4.0 CGP over 5 if the CGPA is over 5, and a 3.5 over 4 CGPA if it's over 4. Now, this rule is not cast in stone because I have seen students who had lower CGPAs, a 3.9, a 3.8, that have been able to get this merit-based scholarship. And my usual advice to students and agents alike is there is no penalty for trying. If you've got a 2-1, a very high 2-1, I usually would advise that you go ahead and apply for the course. And the process of application is very simple. Once you have been made an offer of admission on your chosen course of choice, the web page on the website that details the scholarship provides you with a short Google form where you'll be expected to complete your details and give a 3-liner or 4-liner on why you think you deserve the scholarship. So that will then prompt the sponsorship team to go into your portal and assess your academic documentation and of course your personal statement and then make an informed decision. Now, why I particularly sort of speak about this merit-based scholarship is that the decision making does not lie exclusively with the sponsorship team at the university. The regional offices, which in this case is my office for Africa, also has a say. So I usually will talk to students when I meet them in fairs or agents when I visit their offices that if you've got a student who has a good CGPA who you think is academically sound, please put their details forward to me and I'll be happy to pass on to the team so that it would enable us to make a decision on their application. Now, this particular scholarship has a deadline, of course, and that deadline is in a few days' time. It's been open since the start of the year and will be closing the 1st of June. And it doesn't matter what intake you're applying for. So, if even if you were looking to not start this September, you were looking at January, this deadline applies uh, for any intake you might choose to study in at the university. So the deadline remains the same. It's the 1st of June across all the intakes we have within the university. Now, the second discount is the Vice Chancellor's Global Development Scholarship, which is worth £2,500. This particular scholarship or discount is automatic. And so, usually, when I'm talking to students and we're looking at the options of courses available on the university's website, I'm quick to say to them, whatever tuition fee you see under the international and EU fees page, mentally subtract £2,500 from it because the key thing is applying for the course. Once you have been made an offer, the 2005 discount would apply. So it just makes sense for you when doing your calculation to be ambitious and do the math and take out the 2005 because should you apply your made an offer, the 2005 will reflect on your offer of admission. Now, apart from these general scholarships, we also have specific scholarships within faculties. So, within the Faculty of Humanities, we've got a course called the Masters in Public Administration. I'm particularly excited about this course because for the longest time it's been delivered online. And we've been sort of advocating for this course to be delivered on campus in person. And this is now open for on campus study. And to flag this up, that particular course within that faculty is offering a £4,000 fee reduction. I'm also particularly excited about this scholarship because it is not a merit based one. So once you've applied for the course and you have been made an offer, and this is a good time for me to inform prospective students that the minimum entry requirements for you to be considered for a course program within the University of Portsmouth is a minimum of a 2-2. I will explain much later um, whether we're able to accept a third class or an HND, but the minimum acceptable um, academic entry requirement for a majority, if not all of our courses, is second class lower. So this particular scholarship is open to every and anyone as long as you've been made an offer for this particular course program. They will just require you to write a short essay explaining why you think you're the candidate for the discount. And if they're impressed with what you write, they're happy to give you that discount. We will be rolling off that course for September 2026. So at the moment, we're still accepting applications for the course and applications for the scholarship, which will go on till the 1st of July. So there's still ample time to submit an application and perhaps be considered for this course if this is something that you're interested in studying. Now, aside this scholarships offered within the university, oh, there's one more I didn't include, and this is because it's now closed for the September intake, but it is the Faculty of Science and Health discount. That one too is worth £2,000. And the beautiful thing about that particular discount is that you can combine it with the Vice Chancellor's Global Development Scholarship. So if you get the 2000 discount from the Faculty of Science and Health and you add that to the 2005, that's a whopping £4,500 discount off your tuition fees. That is not included in this slide because unfortunately that has closed for the year. The deadline is a little earlier than these other two. Now, aside from these discounts we offer within the university, of course, there is the usual suspects like the Chevening, the Commonwealth, and other external scholarships that we accept within the university. Now, before we go into tuition fees, I'd like to quickly say a few things about third class graduates because I oftentimes get students asking, so I've got a third class, what is in it for me? Now, when students ask me that question, the blanket answer would be no if you have a third class without work experience. So you're a fresh graduate, you're straight out of school, you don't have a any job experience, you don't have any additional certifications, it's just that degree, we would unfortunately not be able to offer you a place on any of our master's program. However, if you graduated years ago and more than that, you have been able to um, get um, certifications for the course that you have studied, you have work experience, then we'll be able to consider you and potentially accept you into the master's program. So the best way to explain this is take a simple course, for example, like accounting. I don't mean simple in terms of the course, and just simple in terms of that's the course that just comes to my head. You studied accounting, you've gone ahead to do the ICANN or the ACCA, you have work experience in accounting. This work experience is explicit on your resume, enough for the admissions tutor to see that there's been some sort of career growth and progression since leaving school, in addition to these certifications. They will be more than happy to offer you a place onto the master's program because they can see that on top of your degree, you now have additional certifications and additional work experience that is relevant to the course of study, and they'll be more than happy to offer you a master's place. Now, for students who have got an HND, the same rule sort of applies. Now, in the UK, HND is attributed as level 5, bachelor's as level 6, and the master's degree program as level 7. And so if you've got an HND and you're looking to do a master's, you're essentially, for want of a better word, looking to jump from a level 5 to a level 7. In order for the admissions tutor within the university to be able to offer you a place at the master's program, they will sort of expect that you have something in addition to your HND that will sort of take care of this missing link, which is the level 6. So, as always, fresh graduates for an HND that do not have anything else apart from their degree will sort of struggle. We will struggle to make you an offer for a master's. However, if you have additional qualifications, some students have gone ahead to do a PGD in circumstances where they're able to do that, or have got work experience that is tangible 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and above. We will be more than happy to accept you onto our master's degree course program. What we will be able to readily offer HND graduates is an opportunity to sort of convert their HND to a bachelor's. So this is an option I usually would like to put forward to students, and I'm mentioning it now. Now, what usually happens is that sometimes when students think of this option and want to run with it, they struggle to figure out what courses will accept them onto the top up. So this is me telling you that all of our undergraduate courses within the university have the flexibility to offer you this credit entry top up, which is essentially you applying for final year in a relevant discipline. So, if, for example, your HND is in accounting or engineering, electrical engineering, and you're looking to convert your HND to a bachelor's, we will be happy to accept you onto final year in a relevant course. So that will be a bachelor's program in electrical engineering. So when applying, at the point where you're supposed to be imputing your year of entry, instead of imputing year 1, you will impute year 3, which is the final year, so that the admissions tutor will know that you are just applying for the final year because you're looking to essentially convert your HND to a bachelor's program. And I say this because I want students to understand that you don't have to look out for a course on the website labeled top up. Of course, we have a few of them who have that course name, but essentially every course within the bachelor's degree options within our website allows you that flexibility to apply for a final year to convert your HND to a bachelor's. Now, another thing I'd like to bring to students' attention within the University of Portsmouth is when you have applied and you have been made an offer, it would usually come in the form of an offer of admission letter, a conditional offer of admission. Now, part of the conditions is the payment of your tuition deposit. Now, within the West African region, we have a financial arrangement for students from Nigeria and Ghana. And this financial arrangement allows you pay £6,000 instead of 50%. I say this because Unfortunately, for want of a better word, um, our offer letters are auto generated. And because they're auto generated, the default condition in terms of tuition deposit payments will state 50%. So it's important that West African students, Nigerians and Ghanaian students, know that there is a flexibility of paying £6,000 instead of 50%. Of course, if you decide to pay 50%, that's absolutely fine. If you decide you want to pay all of your fees, that's also fine. But it's important that you know that this 6,000 also applies. Now, when you pay this 6,000, it's important that you know that you will not be expected to make any payments upon your arrival at school. This 6,000 payments allows the tuition condition to be removed on your offer, allows you get your CAS statement, which is your certificate of acceptance for studies, the key document you need for applying for your visa, allows you enroll onto the school and receive lectures with your next payment due a month after. So the 6,000 allows your tuition deposit payment to be removed, tuition deposit condition to be removed on your offer, allows you receive your CAS when you've fulfilled all the other conditions, and allows you enroll onto your course program. However, you will need to send an email to the income team stating that you're a Nigerian student and you have opted for this payment plan with the flexibility to pay the rest of your fees in up to 6 monthly installments. They need to see that letter to enable the process work seamlessly for you and not have your application portal triggered for not completing your 50% payment. So it's usually a very simple letter, but it's just important that you send that email to the income team once you have made payment and the payment is reflecting on your portal. Yeah. Um, Now students ask me, so after the 6,000 payment, when is my next payment due? And because I don't want to confuse them, I'll give you a typical example. So for a September start course, your next installment will be due by the first week of November. And you will be expected to then make the rest of your payments on a monthly basis. So first week November, first week December, January, February, March, April. So between April and May, you should have completed your tuition payment for your course program. Of course, I usually would like to talk about the 6 monthly payments because very few students opt for a three, three monthly payment plan, 3 times monthly payment plan, or a 4 times monthly payment plan. Those options exist, but the maximum is usually 6 installments. So that's what this slide is essentially talking about. For more details, if you would like to get more information on that, it will be helpful to speak to your agent in the first instance. So just send an email to the westafrica@pod.ac.uk email and we'll be happy to clarify any confusion surrounding this payment plan. Now, students ask, what documents do I need for an application? We would require your CV if you've got work experience. We would require your bachelor's degree certificate and transcripts, and this would also be for HND graduates. So we would require both your OND and your HND degree certificates and transcripts. We would require you to provide us with a WIAC or NECO result, or even a NAPTEP result. And this is just for the sole aim of checking out your grade in English. Now, I'd like to state this here. I often get students saying, "Oh, I wrote the WIAC and the NECO. My WIAC results were a lot better than my NECO results. I had more B's than C's in one result over the other." We're not looking, especially at the postgraduate level, to see what grades you achieved in other subjects. We simply need your WIAC or NECO results just for your English language score. And once we see that you have a C grade in English, we are happy to remove the condition if you are also able to provide us with scratch card details that we will use to authenticate and verify that certificate. Now, I say this because I oftentimes get students who provide me with both their WIAC and their NECO and their IELTS, just because they want to be overzealous. And my simple explanation to you on this is, don't be overzealous. Just provide us with one certificate. I say that because some students provide us with an IELTS result that is good in terms of your overall score, but they don't pay particular attention to the each component score that they had, listening, writing, and all of those components. If in any of those components you score a lower score than the minimum requirement for that particular component for the course you have chosen, we will compel you to write another IELTS test, not minding whether you have a C grade or higher in English, because you opened the door. You sent us documentation and we've taken IELTS. And IELTS, most of the time, is usually the newer certification or credentials because, I mean, IELTS are supposed to be 2 years old or less. So please don't provide us with an IELTS if you've got a C grade or higher at the WAEC or NECO or NAPTEP. Those results are absolutely fine. With C grade, we're happy with those results. And at the University of Portsmouth, we do not have a lifespan for WAEC results because I sometimes get the funny question as to, oh, I've got my WAEC result, but it's 10 years old. Yeah, even if it's 10 years old, it's 15 years old, as long as we're able to verify it across the WAEC website using the scratch card details you will provide, we're happy to work with what you've provided. So yeah, that's that for the English language requirement. Then of course we need your personal statements, your reference letters, academic or professional, such as they may be, and your passport data page. Um, for the reference letters, if you are a fresh graduate, so you recently graduated 5 years or less, we would appreciate that one out of the two reference letters should be academic. But for more mature students, we appreciate that you might not be so memorable with your lecturers, so it might be difficult for you to get an academic reference if you have graduated, years ago. I can't imagine going back to my school of first degree to ask for an academic reference. I'm not sure anyone will remember me there. So we take that into consideration. If you have recently graduated, we figure that it will be easy for you to get an academic reference. And if you're not able to provide us with a professional reference, two academic reference from two different lecturers will be absolutely fine. But in the event that you're able to provide us with a professional reference, we would appreciate that you provide us with at least one academic reference if you recently graduated 5 years or less. Yeah. Okay. Um, I saved this slide for the last because there's been a lot of buzz and noise surrounding the MRS. And I, hand on my chest, I do understand why there is a lot of interest in it because of the flexibility that comes with applicants being able to progress with their dependents. But this has also given rise to admissions team dealing with an astronomical number of applications. And it has also informed the decision of the admissions team to sort of close application for MS a little sooner than other course programs. So as we speak, unfortunately, we are now closed for the September intake. But I'd like to state a few things about this MS course programs because we are looking to offer them for January. We do not have a definite date yet, a defined date as to when we will start accepting applications for January. But from past years, it usually will be when we are done and dusted with the September intake. So from September, if you're looking to apply for this course program, then that's a good time to put in the application. Now, if you remember when I first started talking about the university, when I mentioned the faculties, three out of these five faculties offer MRES. So that will be the Science and Health faculty, Humanities and Social Sciences, and the creative industries, creative and cultural industries. Now, for the Science and Health, applicants are expected to select from the advertised research projects. So if you've got a research proposal, a research interest, that you are looking to sort of get an MRES offer of admission on, it's important that you check to see if this has been listed as one of our advertised research project interests. If it is not, then this is me telling you honestly and frankly, don't bother. Because even if your proposal is watertight, it's beautiful, it's lovely, we have listed the projects for which we have the expertise and the time for. We want to be sure that when you come into the course program, we are able to provide you with the support that you need because the research course program, which is for a year, is essentially a compressed PhD. So PhDs that you usually would have done for 3 years, you have compressed it into 1 year. So it is tasking, it is intensive. And so that's why we would only advertise research projects that we have the expertise and the capability to provide you guidance and all the support you need within the Faculty of Science and Health. Now, within the Faculty of Humanities and Social Science, it's a different ballgame. They want to see what research interests that you proposal you have, and they want to have a look at it. They want to determine if it is something that is of interest to them. So they're a bit more flexible. But in saying that, just make sure that you put in the work, write a well written research proposal, enough for them to see what you're hoping to get out of the research and be happy to make you an offer. Now, for any of these three research faculties, it's important that you realize that it is not a case of submitting an application today and getting an update in 2 or 3 weeks. It could take as much as 2 months. So, what I usually would tell students is apply sooner rather than later. Give time for them to assess your application so that you're not trying to hurry things up. Submit your application in good time so that when you're made an offer, there is no rush and you're able to fulfill the conditions on your offer. So time is really of the essence. Um, After you have submitted your course, whether it is MRes or undergrad or postgrad, and you've been made an offer, the conditions on the offer have to be fulfilled for your CAS to be provided to you. And when you have been issued your CAS, that is when you start to talk about your visa application. Notice I did not say prepare because I would expect that once you have been made an offer, you should have put preparations in motion for your visa application. We are at this stage with the UKVI where there are no assurances anymore. And so we have to be absolutely sure that our documents are authentic, our applications are submitted early, our visa applications are submitted on time. We have to be sure that we know exactly what the course modules for our course of choice is. We have to be able to speak confidently in case we are called for a credibility interview by the UKVI to answer those questions adequately. Now, for us at the University of Portsmouth, we do not do precast interviews, and I'll tell you why. Um, there is no guarantee that if we did a precast interview as an institution and we sort of okay your precast interview, proceed with your admission, that you would ace your interview should you be called by the UKVI. That's the first thing. The second thing is if you're working with a trusted agency, so we have our trusted agencies listed on our website, and Edvoice is one of them, we would expect that every student coming through this agency has done their homework in terms of prepping the students because a win for you as an agency is a win for us at the university. So we sort of are confident that being a trusted channel partner for the university, you would have done all the interviews and all the preparations with the students. And that also applies with the proof of funds. So we do not expect to see your proof of funds to issue you your CAS. We would expect that if you're working with an agency, this should have been common knowledge to you as to what is acceptable in terms of a bank statement, what is acceptable in terms of the sum in your bank statement, and the maturity of your bank statement. And so, as an institution, because of the confidence we have in our channel partners, we expect them to have been able to provide this information to students. So, within the University of Portsmouth, we're not requiring you to provide all this. We want to make it easy for you to progress with your admission whilst giving the responsibility to the agencies because that's why we've contracted them and that's why we have this unique relationship with them to ensure that they do everything right in terms of ensuring that your documentation checks out. So that's our stance as a university. However, when you have been made an offer, part of the condition on your offer is to complete your CAS shield. Your CAS shield expects you to provide us with information on your travel history, if you've got a visa refusal in the past, and if you have, for what destination, one, what was the reason for the visa refusal. We require this information and we require you to be truthful about it. If we see, based on the information you put on the CAS shield, that you have had a visa refusal in the past, And this visa refusal was as a result of maintenance funds. It's a no-brainer that will now expect you to provide us with bank statements just to be sure that you know exactly what is required of you this time before issuing you your card. So this is an extenuating circumstance where we would now request you to provide us with a bank statement. But outside of that, we will not require you to provide us with a bank statement. We would expect that you are adequately guided in terms of all of that documentation for a successful visa um, outcome. So I'm conscious that I've spoken too much and I'm starting to get tired of my own voice. So I'm going to stop here. Um, this is just general information on how to locate us if you've got, you want to get in touch or anything like that. Yeah, so this is the end of my presentation. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have because I couldn't possibly have put everything in a slide. I didn't want the slide to be too lengthy and the whole presentation too boring. So I'm going to stop sharing now and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have. Thank you for your time. Over to you. Hello, Martin. Are you there? Hello. Okay. Yeah. So whilst we're waiting for Martin to come online, I'm seeing some questions being asked. Um, so someone is asking, says you didn't mention MPhil. Well, um, I'm not sure I did, but we do offer MPhil, and that is under our postgraduate research. So if you recall, during the presentation, I said we offered undergraduate, postgraduate thought, and postgraduate research. So under the postgraduate research, we've got the MRes, which is for 1 year, the MPhil, which is for 2 years, and of course the PhD, which is for 3 years. So yes, we do offer MPhil, and details on the specific MPhils we offer within each faculty is explicit on the website. So I hope I've answered your question. Okay, so I've got a question here. You said you applied for MSc Applied Aquatic Biology and it was rejected. Yeah, so it'll be helpful to know why it was rejected. If you're able to provide me with your student ID number, I can quickly just go in, log into the portal and have a look. But the major reason why applications are rejected is because you haven't met the entry requirements or you have submitted an incomplete documentation and you have been requested a few times to provide the pending documentation within a time frame and we didn't hear from you, we will then reject your application. But this is just a few of the reasons why your application might have been rejected. But if you're able to provide me with your student ID number here or much later, I'll be happy to go into your portal and find out exactly why you were rejected. I'm also seeing a question. Someone is asking, does the school accept degrees from Benin Republic? So I'm happy you asked this question because I was struggling to fit it into the slide. Um, we do not accept degrees from Benin Republic for a direct master's. We're only able to do that under unique circumstances. So I've seen a few Benin Republic graduates who have done like a postgraduate diploma on top of their degree certificate or um, have work experience that the admissions tutor can look at and say, you know what, as much as we don't offer accept Benin Republic credentials for a direct master's, based off of this, we're happy to consider you for a master's degree. But if you're a fresh graduate and all you have in terms of certification is a Benin Republic certificate credentials, we would refer you to our pathway college, which is ICP, for a pre-master's route before we will be able to accept you onto the master's degree course. Now, your second question was whether IELTS was required. And I'm hoping that you listened when I was talking about our English language requirements within the university. We accept IELTS, but I'm also conscious of the fact that I do not want students paying and writing IELTS tests just because you're looking to get an admission with the University of Portsmouth, because we don't require it if you've got a C grade or higher in English at the WAEC, NECO, or NAPTEP. We would require you to provide us with your certificate if you've got a C grade in English in any of these exams. But more than that, we'd also expect you to provide us with scratch card details that the admissions team will use to verify and authenticate the results. And I'm glad you asked this question because it's giving rise to me explaining that if you were looking to do our nursing program, we also accept WAEC and NECO, but this time it will not just be a C, it has to be a minimum of a C4. So with a C4 in English, verified across the website to be authentic, we'll be happy to remove the English language condition, and you will not need to provide us with IELTS for your application to be progressed and even for your visa application. So I'm seeing another question. Someone is saying, can I do a BSc top up if I have a nursing diploma? Um, so first of all, we do not have a January intake for nursing, so it's only September. Now, the diploma program is something we can consider for a BSc top up. However, I cannot guarantee you confidently that we would offer you a final year. It is more likely that we would offer you a year two with your diploma credentials onto our nursing program. Um, so, with your diploma, you would have been exempted from the foundation and the year one. But this is not cast in stone. It is at the discretion of the admissions tutor. They will need to see your diploma results, see what courses you studied, what grades you achieved. You would also be expected to complete a portfolio which details why you have chosen to do nursing as a course in general, and these nursing programs are subject to an interview. So it's not very straightforward like the other undergraduate and postgraduate degree courses. With the nursing, there are hurdles to cross, but with your diploma, as long as your results are fantastic, there is the possibility of being exempted from the foundation and the year one and you being made an offer onto year two. And I'm sure everyone on this call would know that undergraduate studies in the UK is essentially for 3 years, except you're incorporating a placement year, which will make it 4 years. Okay, so another question. Oh, I'm loving these questions because it is addressing courses I didn't put in the slides. Now, someone is asking if there's an automatic scholarship or discount to PGCE courses as well. And I'm glad you asked this question. Now, I hope you know what the PGC courses are. I assume that you would. These are courses that you would be applying for if your target is to teach in the UK. Now, because of the, for want of a better word, because of how special these courses are in making you qualify to be a teacher in the UK, it is applied through the Department for Education. So if you, for example, go onto our website and see all the PGC courses, and we've got the PGC for primary courses and PGC for secondary school courses as well, you will find that in trying to apply, it will redirect you to the Department for Education website where you can then apply. Now, a majority of these courses, if not all of them, comes with a bursary. And this bursary ranges from £20,000 to as high as £24,000. But they are not bursaries you can get as a lump sum. So you will first of all have to apply for the course, be made an offer, meet the conditions, apply for your visa, and then when you arrive the UK and in this case the University of Portsmouth to pursue your course program, that is when this bursary will be disbursed to you on a monthly basis. Because I oftentimes get students say, do I still need to pay a tuition deposit? Do I still need to show a bank statement if I have already got the bursary? It's important that you recognize and understand our stance as a university where it comes to bursary acquisition. So in getting that bursary, it in no way replaces your provision. I mean, it in no way replaces the condition to pay your tuition fees and the provision to submit a bank statement for a visa application, because you will not have access to those bursaries if you do not arrive the UK, in this case, the University of Portsmouth, for your program. So the bursaries are available, but they would only be dispensed to you when you have successfully arrived school, and it'll be given to you on a monthly basis. So for a £24,000 bursary, you'll be paid about 2,000 or 2,005 monthly. That applies to the £22,000 bursary as well. Yeah? Okay. So someone is asking, I don't know, Martins, would you want me to continue to answer these questions, or would you want to chip in at any point? I hate to think that I'm monopolizing the entire um, presentation. So please feel free to tell me to shut up at any time. And yeah, I'll be happy to.
Yeah, it's fine. Go ahead. We'll take maybe two more questions and then I'll take over.
Great. Right.
Mhm.
So a student is asking if, so he says, my name is Michael. I studied this, but currently working in this, and I would like to do supply chain management. Okay. So now for our logistics and supply chain management course program, it is different from how it is delivered across other UK universities. For starters, this particular course is domiciled in our School of Mathematics. So you have to have a core, solid math background to even be considered for the course program. And based on what you have studied, I'm afraid you will not qualify to be considered for an MSc in supply chain management. However, we've got an MSc, I hope I got it right, in strategic procurement, something like that. That's the one that I would ask that you consider, if you're happy to. But for the logistics and supply chain, I'm afraid we will not be able to offer you a place based on what you have explained as your qualifications. So to the final question before I hand over to Martin, can I get a nursing course as an O level? So yes, you can, but you will have to go through our foundation program. So with your O level results, would be expecting to see a minimum of a C grade in math, English, physics, chemistry, biology, the usual suspects. And then once we are been able to ascertain that you have that, we will be happy to consider you for a foundation course program, which you'll have to do for a little less than a year. So usually between January to August. And on successfully completing this foundation program, you will then progress on to year one of the nursing program, and hopefully year two and year three, um, as it applies to your course. So I think that's the two questions you said I could answer before you I hand over to you, Martin. So over to you.
All right. Thank you very much, Chinelo, for coming through tonight and breaking down like everything students, questions and students would have and concerns that they would have, and then breaking it down so clearly. So we really appreciate you. We appreciate you for your time. And I want to thank everyone who has stayed till the very end. I want to believe that you're the serious ones, and it has shown today. So before we conclude this session, just want to make it very clear that our services at Study Key are completely free. We do not charge you a single penny, not for the application support, not for the guidance, not for the visa application, not for anything. So it's completely free. So there's genuinely no reason to hesitate. Uh, what would request that you do is reach out to us if and when you're ready to proceed with the process. And when I say ready, I mean when you're actually ready. If you have all your documents sorted, your CV, your certificates, your transcripts, your WIC or NICO results, your personal statements, your reference letters, and passports data page, please reach out to us on WhatsApp. Just send a message to us on WhatsApp with the keyword Portsmouth to 09015597260. 09015597260. The number is on the screen. Send us a message on WhatsApp and we would start your application process. Okay. But if you're still thinking about this, like still considering your options or waiting to gather your documents, no problem at all. Feel free to reach out to us on WhatsApp whenever you're ready to move forward. Okay. All right, so I want to thank everybody for staying put till this moment. I think it's been a really special session. Hopefully, we intend to like do more of webinars like this at least once every month to help you with like all the concerns and questions that you'd have. All right, so good luck with your study abroad plans, and hopefully we see you sometime next month. But before then, we are active on WhatsApp. Um, we're active on social media as well. Study Key across all social media platforms, and on WhatsApp if you want to chat with one of our advisors. Thank you very much, Nelo, and thank you to every other person who has stayed put to this moment. Good night.
Thank you for having me. Good night. Take care.
Mhm.